Hello and welcome to another edition of Another Book Review. This week I'll be reviewing Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. I'll talk very briefly about the author, go into a spoiler-free overview of the plot, talk about what I liked about the book, what I didn't like about the book, who I'd recommend the book to, and finish off with what I'll be reading for next time. I reviewed Artemis by Andy Weir a few years ago now. I'll leave that link below if you want to check out that video. He's still probably best known for The Martian, though this book has also gotten pretty good reviews. What this book is about is a character whose name is Ryland Grace, who wakes up one day with amnesia on a space station. And so he soon realizes that he's on a mission to save Earth. There's a microbe that is essentially sucking energy from the sun, and he's been sent on this kind of last-ditch Hail Mary, as it were, in order to discover something to stop that microbe from destroying essentially all life on Earth. So it is a very high-stakes science fiction novel. I think it's a little bit more speculative than The Martian. I've never read The Martian. I did watch the movie. I would say this book is a little bit closer to what I would call science fiction than The Martian, which, as far as I know, is based entirely on scientific fact. But the fun part of this book, and I think it is fun, is there's a lot of science. Andy Weir clearly knows his stuff or has people check his stuff. And the book is basically problem-solving the novel. And so Ryland Grace gets into all these issues where he has to solve various problems as the book goes along, and you're with him and you kind of watch him use science in order to solve various problems on this space station. And I think his humor, Andy Weir's sense of humor, comes out through the book. It's very funny in parts. There's some laugh out loud funny parts of it. In the beginning of this novel, I'd say the first 40% of it clips it along at a very fun pace. Is a page turner. He does something very clever in that he has kind of a dual narrative here. Because of the amnesia of the main character, he has flashbacks to the time before his mission, and that leaves Andy Weir to have some suspense and some mysteries kind of built into the narrative. And I think that kind of back and forth between the past and the current worked really well in this novel, and I think he does a very good job of structuring that to where the mysteries of the novel kind of slowly unfold as you go along. And I think the book has a really great ending. I think it ends beautifully. I think it kind of the character kind of wraps up the character arc very nicely, and does a very. I was surprised at how emotional I got at the end of the book, to be honest with you, because I think it is just kind of a gut punch of an ending. So it's a great ending. Some stuff I didn't like as much. The kind of the try-fail cycle of the book of the astronaut getting into problems and then solving them and all that stuff. And towards the middle of the book, it kind of hits a little bit of a slog. I wouldn't say it was really that long. It's probably only 5 to 10% of the book, but it feels like a little bit through the middle, you're kind of trudging through it a little bit. I felt that there were some digressions that maybe could have been cut out that wouldn't have really necessarily hurt too much of the book. I felt that there were some side characters who were a little interchangeable, who weren't particularly memorable in the book. And I think the dialogue that he has a little bit of an Aaron Sorkin problem in the sense that a lot of the characters kind of sound the same. And while that makes sense in some instances, in other instances it doesn't. Then there's a couple places where I think he kind of falls into certain stereotypes. There's a Russian character who is an alcoholic, and you're like, some of this stuff, some of it, I wasn't a huge fan of. I don't know how terrible any of it really was, but that was the one that kind of came immediately to mind, of making that character kind of a female alcoholic who keeps kind of describing the alcohol she drinks as rough. I was like, okay. But that didn't bother me too much. I really enjoyed this. I think if you liked The Martian, the movie, or liked the novel The Martian, I think you're going to really enjoy this. This is really kind of, if you are someone who's a science fiction fan and you kind of like this kind of pretty quick thriller, problem-solving, try-fail cycle stuff, I think you're going to like it. The humor may be hit or miss for some people, and like I said, what I said about as far as the characterization, some of the characters kind of sounding the same may pull some people out of it. But I found it particularly the humor worked for me for the most part. I thought the tone was fun. I think this was a pretty quick read, and I think I was pleasantly surprised by the ending, as well as how emotionally I was attached to the character. So I really enjoyed and really recommend Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. Next time I'm going to be reading Heartbreaking Work of Staggering Genius by Dave Eggers. And if you haven't already, please like the video, subscribe to the channel. I'll have the link below if you want to check out my review of Andy Weir's earlier novel, Artemis. Until next time, bye.